The English language, spoken by over 1.5 billion people today as a first, second, or foreign language, has a complex and fascinating history. It is a language shaped by conquest, migration, trade, literature, religion, science, and empire. The story of English begins over 1,500 years ago and evolves through different stages: Old English, Middle English, Early Modern English, and Modern English. Let us take a journey through time to explore how English came into being. Pre-English Britain, the Celts and Romans, before 5th century AD. Before English arrived in Britain, the island was inhabited primarily by Celtic-speaking tribes. These early Britons spoke various forms of Celtic languages such as Brythonic, Gaelic, and Pictish. In 43 AD, the Romans invaded Britain under Emperor Claudius and ruled for nearly 400 years. Latin was introduced, mainly used in governance, military, and religion, but it didn't replace the native Celtic languages. However, it left behind some words and infrastructure, like roads, towns, and Christianity. When Roman power declined around 410 AD, Britain was left vulnerable to invasions, setting the stage for the birth of English. The Anglo-Saxon invasion, Old English, 450 to 1100 AD. The real origin of the English language begins with the Anglo-Saxon invasions around 450 AD. Germanic tribes, the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, crossed the North Sea from modern-day Germany and Denmark. They brought with them Old Germanic dialects which eventually evolved into Old English. The word English itself comes from the Angles, and England means land of the Angles. Features of Old English. Very different from modern English, closer to German or Old Norse. It had grammatical gender, strong inflections, and a flexible word order. Around 85% of Old English vocabulary is now obsolete. Old English was enriched through contact with the native Britons, Celtic influence. The Latin-speaking Church, Christian missionaries around 597 AD, and Norse raiders. Viking invasions and Norse influence, 8th to 11th century. Starting in the 8th century, Viking invaders from Scandinavia attacked and eventually settled in parts of England, especially the north and east. The Norse-speaking Danes and Norwegians brought Old Norse words and grammar. The Danelaw, a region under Viking control, saw heavy linguistic. This blending laid the foundation for the grammatical simplification that characterizes modern English. The Norman Conquest, Middle English, 1100 to 1500. A major turning point came in 1066, when William the Conqueror, Duke of Normandy, northern France, invaded England. The Normans brought rise of English and the printing press, Early Modern English, 1500 to 1700. By the late 14th century, English began regaining prestige. The Hundred Years' War against France and the Black Death, which reduced the French-speaking elite, contributed to English becoming dominant again. In 1476, William Caxton introduced the printing press to England, a revolutionary moment for language development. Key developments in early modern English. Standardization, spelling and grammar started to become uniform. Great vowel shift, 1400 to 1600. A major pronunciation change affected long vowels, e.g., bite once sounded like beat. Enormous expansion of vocabulary, due to trade, exploration, science, and Renaissance learning. Many Latin and Greek words entered the language through scientific and academic fields. Physics, anatomy, democracy, temperature, microscope. Shakespeare's influence, William Shakespeare, 1564 to 1616. Enriched English with poetic expression and introduced 1700 plus new words and phrases. Lonely, majestic, laughable, vanish, bedroom, break the ice, heart of gold. British Empire and global spread, modern English, 1700 to present. From the 17th century onward, England became a global imperial power. The British Empire spread English to the Americas, Africa, Asia, and the Pacific. Colonial expansion. North America, English became dominant in the United States and Canada. India, English became the language of administration and education. Africa and Australia, English mixed with local languages, forming new dialects. During this period, modern English continued to evolve. Varieties of English and new dialects. As English spread, new accents, dialects, and creoles developed. American English. Vocabulary differences: elevator, UK, lift, truck, UK, lorry. Pronunciation and spelling differences, due to Noah Webster's reforms. Color, UK, color, center, UK, center. Other varieties. Australian English, mix of British English with unique slang and Aboriginal influence. Indian English, British-based with unique vocabulary and syntax. African Englishes, blended with native languages and colonial history. Pidgins and Creoles. In some colonies, English blended with local languages to form pidgins, simplified languages for trade, and Creoles, fully developed languages spoken natively. English as a global language in the 20th to 21st century. After World War II, the United States emerged as a global superpower, making American English highly influential through cinema and music, Hollywood, pop culture. Technology, Silicon Valley, software, internet. Business and science, international communication. The digital age. New slang and terms, selfie, emoji, blog, Google, as a verb. Influence of social media, memes, and texting on language. Explosion of global communication. English is the primary language of the internet. English has become the world's lingua franca. Used between speakers of